Without a vision, the people perish. Welcome to Vision Plus, a program featuring a positive outlook, dealing with everyday situations of marriage, children, and business. Believing Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Teacher, author, speaker, delighting audiences from New York to Sacramento with a heart and message for the people today. Bonnie would like to remind you of the 800 number on the screen. Please feel free to call at any time throughout the broadcast and share your concerns. Leave your prayer request and someone will pray with you. And now, teacher, author, and speaker, Bonnie Libhart.
Hello and welcome. I'm Bonnie Libhart, and I'm delighted that you joined us today on Vision Plus. Without a vision, the people perish. That's what Solomon, I suppose he's the one that wrote that in Proverbs, but whoever it was one of God's people. And we are glad you're watching because we have a whole room full of God's people here, and you're probably going to hear a lot of their testimonies. I know Bart Green's one of them from Los Angeles and Tennessee and here in Huntsville, and we've heard his testimony about what the Lord's doing is. And I see David and his wife are here. They're next, and of course we have over here Patty Allen, and you've heard her testimony before a few times. And as a result of what she has done, and they're part of our writing class, and you can be a part of that also by calling a toll-free number, 1-877-823-6886. Well, one of the books that you've had an opportunity to get is called Born Again Marriage, How the Lord Put Our Marriage Back Together, Tony and Me. And then later it was called A Survivor's Secret, and then we went to putting it all together again. And there are quite a number of books that you can get, or tapes, or works that new book that's coming out very shortly, Stumble Forward, that actually Bart Green and I are writing as a team effort, and I'm happy about that. And I know that one day you'll be reading a book that comes from this person. So Holly, I'm going to let you tell us first of all your name and a little bit about yourself.
I'm Holly Beach, and I'm originally from Santa Monica, California. I came to Alabama in October of 2003, and I came here in hopes of changing my life, and needless to say, that didn't work.
Well, what needed to be changed about your life?
Everything.
Okay, tell me a little bit about your background.
I came from a very dysfunctional family. I lost my mother at a young age and started using drugs and alcohol at a young age. And
like 10 years old?
Like 10 years old, and I was thrown out of school at 17 and proceeded to use drugs and alcohol, and I landed myself in prison at the age of 27. And I did 5 years in prison, and I got out. And I had met a Christian man, and I was going to church, and I was baptized, and my life was all right, but still living in sin, and you can't be living in sin and walking with the Lord at the same time. I lost my husband then and started to backslide.
Now, you said dysfunctional family. Our preacher always said there's only two kinds of families. There's the dysfunctional family and the more dysfunctional family. So what made your family dysfunctional as a child?
Way dysfunctional. My father was an alcoholic drug addict, and he was really dysfunctional. And I have 4 older brothers and sisters that were also into drugs and alcohol. And I was the youngest and kind of raised myself, and I was really lost. So,
what were some of the abuses that you suffered?
Physical, mental, sexual, all of it.
And your mother died at age 5, I think it was, and so then you had to, as you say, raise yourself. So I am wondering how you are here today in Huntsville, Alabama, that'll be going out all over the world when you had such an incredibly abusive childhood, and yet you're still alive and you're here. And tell me what happened after this divorce and you got back into the D words, drugs, drinking, you're now divorced and depression, and what happened?
I came to Alabama, and I became homeless.
Homeless. Now, Holly, what in the world caused you to become homeless, and was this kind of your goal in life?
No. No, it wasn't. It really wasn't. I have a sister here that was helping me out, and I, um, I, I sent for the man that in Reno, Nevada. I sent for him to come out here to try to make it with him one more time, and it didn't work. He started abusing me, and he left me, and I cut myself up and ended up in the hospital, and they were sewing me up. I had stitches, a lot of stitches in my arm, and I told the hospital, I said, I'm not trying to kill myself, I'm just trying to stop the pain, and there's nothing they could do to help me, and they let me go the next day.
They thought that, okay, this is a hopeless case, and she feels hopeless, and so do we. So what did you do next?
I went back to my apartment and found it empty, and I had nowhere to go.
And what did you do then?
Patty Allen rescued me.
From where did Patty rescue you? Where did she find you?
I kind of ran into her at her business. She worked at her business, and her boss had bought me some beer.
Now, where were you living at the time? You were thrown out of the apartment.
I was kind of wandering around and staying behind her boss's business.
And where else? You actually were living under the
Yeah.
living under the bridge.
I was homeless here in Huntsville, yes.
And you're so pretty, and I just can't imagine a beautiful blonde, blue-eyed lady like you that were living under the bridge and homeless, and yet as bright as you are. So you found a guy that would buy you beer and a place to sleep, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
how did that work out for you?
Well, he bought me beer and cigarettes, and Patty Allen brought me to church, and the day she brought me to church, I was really, really lost. I was broken. I was spiritually broken. I was a mess. I was a mess. And
What does a mess mean?
oh, yeah, ask Patty. I was a mess. God, I was a mess. Anyways, that day she took me back to church. I rededicated my life to the Lord that day.
The very same day that she took you, the very first time. And did everything become rosy in the moment?
I felt little glitters of hope, yes. And she took me to the Downtown Rescue Mission. And
What does the Downtown Rescue Mission do, and what did it do for you?
they have a Christian-based program. Believe it or not, it is awesome. It's a 7-step discipleship program, and the Lord just tugged at my heart, and I got into that program, and I'm totally transformed. I mean, oh God, I could see where the Lord has had His hand on me all this time through my entire life, and I mean, when they told me in the beginning of this program, Holly, just take a break from the world, because this is a 12 to 18 month program, and God, if some of the homeless people would just get off the street to take a break from the world and to get to know God and let God just love you, and it's awesome. Anyways, I could see, because I've always wanted to be a counselor, but I never thought I was smart enough. I never thought I could stay sober long enough, and I never thought I could make it through school, because I never went to school when I went to school, and I never thought I was educated, but by the grace of God, I'm telling you, He wanted me to do it His way, and I am going through counseling ministry. I'm now working under the director of the SAP Shelter for Women and Children at the Downtown Rescue Mission. I'm 14 months clean and sober. God has just transformed me into a beautiful child of God, and I love my new life in Christ. I'm just, I'm happy.
That's great. Now, you have some exciting things you've done. You were asked to speak, and you had some world-known people that you spoke on the stage with, 450 people. What was that night about, and who was it?
I did my testimony in July of 2005 with Heather Whitestone McClellan, former Miss America 1995. She's hearing impaired, deaf. She's really beautiful. We dedicated our prayer room at the Downtown Rescue Mission to Heather, and she gave her testimony, and I gave my testimony. Excuse me. And I had never spoken in front of anybody, and I spoke in front of hundreds of people. And I'm telling you, the Holy Spirit came over me, and I did it. I spoke in front of all these people, and they asked me to do it again. Now I'm going to be speaking this coming up Wednesday night at First Baptist in Madison on University.
We'll be running this all over the world, so I don't think they'll have an opportunity to come, but they can bring you to wherever they are, so that'll be good. And you were on the front page of the beautiful magazine that they put out, the Mission magazine, and also the whole story of you and Heather, and also a very well-known in this area of Huntsville, Alabama, northern Alabama, singer that has some CDs out.
Lee Marshall?
Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you got to be with her also, and pictures made with you and Heather. Yes. So that's kind of a different world. Have you had any opportunity to tell your former abusers anything about what the Lord's done in your life?
Actually, I haven't been back to home, but I do see the former homeless people that I used to drink with under the bridge. A couple of them have come into the program. I see some of them out there still that are still drinking under the bridge, and some that still come and eat at the mission that see me, and that just still they just see me and just they can't believe that I am where I am today. And I pray for them all the time, that the Lord will just touch their hearts and bring them in, because we're there for them. And we feed, 150,000 meals a year, and we just opened up the Thompson Life Center, and that houses over 150 men a night, and it's a beautiful place for the transients, for the men and the women, and the shelter for the women and children. It's really awesome. The program is awesome. And
it's working. Yes. That's what we should be doing in the whole world, the whole United States, at a program like Bernie Thompson has started with the mission. I knew him. He brought us in to do staff training for Thompson Plastic, and he is just a beautiful human.
Bernie Thompson is awesome. He's really a neat man, yeah. He is.
And so what are some of the things that you are personally doing? You're going through the school program, the counseling program, to be a counselor yourself, and what other things are available?
In the program, well, we have the program consists of, there's 7 steps in the program. The first is just an introduction to Christianity. The second step is Experiencing the Heart of Jesus by Max Lucado. Mm-hmm. And the third step is Purpose Driven Life by Rick Warren. Mm-hmm. And the fourth step is Experiencing God by Henry Blackaby.
Now she has some water for you. Thank you, Patty. Mm-hmm.
Am I seeing her, Patty Allen? She scooped me up out of the gutter.
She has an incredible testimony. If you remember, she was born with a silver spoon in her mouth, Patty was, and then she didn't like that life, so she went to the backside of Alaska. So you remember that story, I'm sure. But if you didn't, you may get in touch with us and get both of these testimonies. And it also, they'll be part of a book that's coming out, The Stumble Forward. Stumble Forward. Bonnie Libharton with Barton Green. We're excited about that. That'll be coming out shortly. But all of these that you're going to be meeting will be part of a book that we're doing and our writer's course that we have. So we're excited about the testimonies they're writing, just like what she's doing and the way she's handling her life. So we're very, we can see how the Lord is working in a lot of these lives. Now I want to know how you said you saw all along the way, because there must have been times from starting drinking and drugs at 10 years old, I mean, to get you from when your mama died at age 5 to even 10 years old, when you're going through physical, emotional, sexual, all kinds of just horrible parts of your life. And yet, how do you think? Take us through some of the times you can see the Lord working in your life.
How he preserved me? Mm-hmm. Well, I was thrown out on the freeway twice in 2 car accidents that were fatal, or could have been fatal, to where, I mean, the police and the paramedics were shaking their head. I mean, I was thrown out doing like 75, 80 miles an hour and did not break a bone. And to this day, I don't even, I mean, I do know, but, I mean, little things like that. Plenty of drug overdoses. I don't even know how. I mean, I have woken up on the floor by myself with a syringe in my arm and not even known how I survived that, just so many things that the Lord has just brought me through. And I don't want to cry, but I mean, he's awesome, And
well, the time that you quit the drinking and drugs, when Patty Allen had found you under the bridge and homeless, and then her boss gives you something to drink. That doesn't sound too great about her. I hope she didn't introduce you to her boss. Maybe he introduced you.
Yeah, he introduced me.
Oh, cool. So what do you think? Did you just have an instant healing of drinking and drugs?
It was, you know what it was? It was because I actually, when I came from under the bridge to the mission, it was, I knew I needed it, and I felt him tugging at my heart. I knew I needed it, and I was so afraid, but I was so afraid of the fear of the unknown and that fear of change. I was afraid of change, and I was afraid of love. I was afraid to be loved. I didn't know how to love, and I didn't know how to be loved. And the Lord has totally opened that up for me. And to now be able to experience the supernatural transformation is really awesome. Mm-hmm. It's awesome.
And you're saying it can happen to some
Amen.
People right in this room.
Yes.
Are there people in this room you'd like to encourage?
Yes. Yes, it can.
I guess you're having them to remain nameless as we speak.
Well, I can name them all. Yes, it can happen. And the thing is that the Lord has brought me to this point in time in my life. And, if I had to go back under the bridge to do it again, I would. But, I mean, for me to be at the Downtown Rescue Mission, and God willing, I'm going to stay at the mission for as long as God will have me to help with the homeless and the people that need help.
I liked the way they said, I said, what about your boyfriend? And one of them in the group said, she has a new boyfriend, Jesus.
Yep.
So he's your husband now.
Yes, he is.
So what would the steps be if somebody viewing this program would say, I wish I could get off drugs, quit drinking? What are the steps? Take me through 1, 2, 3. What did Patty Allen say to you or do with you?
What she did, she prayed for me. She said, "Can I pray for you?" And it was like I didn't know what to say. I knew it wouldn't hurt because I never really had anybody pray for me like that. But I knew it wouldn't hurt, so I went ahead and let her. So I'd say, let them pray for you. But The biggest thing for me to do was to surrender, man. You have to submit. You have to. And repentance and the renewing of your mind, and then he will do the work. And that's
we call into being those things which are not as if they were, that you have a glorified body, a life to serve him, and you're going to counsel other women. You know why he allowed you to go through a lot of that? Was it a little bit because perhaps he knew that you had to experience yourself before you could really say, I know what you're talking about?
exactly.
If you say, I know what you're talking about,
And I had to experience being homeless because you know what? I had done everything, except for be homeless.
what is everything you've done?
Everything, you name it.
Well, name me a couple.
Everything. Everything. I mean, everything, pretty much everything. I mean, I've been hook, crook. I mean, walked the streets of Hollywood. I mean, I had to pimp. I had to street walk. I had it. Ooh, I was bad, you know. But I've done it all. I've been beat, battered, bruised.
You sound like Mary Magdalene that Jesus appeared to first when he came forth after the resurrection, or very near the first, because he loved him. Her. He loved her.
I'm not ashamed. And what I had learned in counseling ministry is to be transparent, and to be transparent is what I need to be to heal others and to help others be healed. And so there's really no shame in me. So
Sounds like you're stumbling forward pretty good, and you have a vision for your life. What do you think the next 10 years is going to hold for you?
well, I'm not really super sure. God knows. Yeah.
You're planning to write the book? Maybe Bart and I can help you.
You know, you know what? I've always wanted to do that too, but I don't know how to write. It took me a month to write 4 pages.
We can help you there. That's not a problem. We'll take this as a beginning.
Yeah, I mean, you know, within the next 10 years, I'm really sure that I can. Yeah.
But that's one thing that they don't ask you to do is think about the next 10 years. They think about today and the next hour, this hour.
Well, see, I'm not real worried about it. I mean, my life is in God's hands, and I know that because when I pray and I ask him, your will be done, I said, everything you have is mine and all that I am is yours to do with as you will. Believe you me, he is doing an amazing work in my life, so it's all his.
Sounds like you do truly trust in the Lord with all our heart. Lean not upon your own understanding. In all your ways you're acknowledging him, and he's directing your path, Holly. I see that. And I can see you have the faith of God. And even this mountain of everything that's happened to you, and everyone that's watching today, watching Holly today, can see that whatever has happened to them in the past can be wiped out in an instant. In an instant. I mean, there is no barrel full of sins that we have to take out one at a time. It's just all gone at one moment. And so these are all dissipated and cast into the sea. Whatever that you say is what you will have, and whatever the things you desire when you pray, believe them that you have them.
This has all happened in the last year, and it can happen, and it's you just have to let it happen. You have to let it happen. You have to want it enough, and it will happen.
Want it enough. Want what?
You want to have to have your heart. You want to have God renew your mind and rewrite your heart and give you a life that you would never, ever, ever imagine that could be so good.
Peace in your heart.
Yes, it's really
Beauty on your face, because you glow. You glow. I look probably like Moses looked like you when he walked down off that mountain after he'd been in the presence of God.
About that.
Holly Beach, and she will come and speak with your group if you like. I am Bonnie Liphart, and along with a lot of wonderful people in the room, Judith and David and Patty, and I can't see who else, a friend. Yeah, I need all of your names. I know Elizabeth's over there.
And Kathy and
Heather?
Deborah. And Judith.
And Deborah? All right. Well, along with all of us and you, because it wouldn't make any difference if we were here or not if you weren't viewing it, but you tell someone you can order this tape And we would love for you to have a copy of this tape, DVD, or well, videotape, whatever we happen to have that you can use. And you can get in touch with us through the toll-free number. No matter if you're in Iceland or Ireland or wherever you are, Iowa, you can have a copy of this tape. And it'll be with Bonnie Libhart, and just say, I want that Holly girl, that Hollywood girl that's now a Holly Jesus girl. And I want that tape. And just get in touch with us at 877-823-6886. Or you can go to the website, www.drbonnielibhart.com. And Bonnie is B-O-N-N-I-E. Libhart is a disease I can't get rid of. No, my husband's running camera. I better take that back. Libhart is spelled L-I-B, like boy, H-A-R-T, like Tom. And we're glad you joined us. Bless your heart for watching.